Hello, my friends. This is Elliott Lindemood, your host of usually political trendy radio. This time I have a special treat for you after PTR, just after PTR. Depending on what will be uploaded first, but if you're watching this live, this is just after PTR episode 18, um, and I'm bored. I don't know much about politics, as that kind of got into more political talking and I know about politics, but I'm not Mr. Political. What I do know is about music, and one of my favorite genres is called grindcore. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I would, unscripted, but with my musical historian knowledge, uh, kind of crash course you through the history of said genre and various subgenres, and why I hate cybergrind. Because I hate cybergrind. Um, if you think I am right and you would like to worship me forever, or you think I'm wrong and you would like to hit me in the head with large objects, you can email me at ellindemood@gmail.com. So Grindcore started, I guess, one could trace it back to, and I trace it back to hardcore punk and thrash metal, taking, you know, punk rock and heavy metal to new heights, speed, aggression, intensity, brutality, one could say. And you have bands who went faster. You had, in the punk side, you had Negative Effects from '82, DRI from '83, uh, even Discharge, of course, played a huge influence on grindcore. There, even from earlier, you had Ripcord from the mid '80s. You had Larum, you had fucking Heresy, Intense Degree, Electro Hippies. You had all these bands that were faster and faster and faster. You made minor threats, some like the Sex Pistols. On the metal side, of course, you had death metal, Possessed, Death, and you had one band on the metal side who could kind of, and of course you had crossover like later DRI, and but you had one band on the metal side who combined the punk and metal. In my opinion, is one of the first grindcore bands. That was Repulsion. Repulsion combined punk and metal. You had it was basically it was death metal with blast beats. I mean, this was 1986 when The Stench of Burning Death, aka Horrified, came out. Wasn't released on LP until '89, but it came out as a demo in '86. I mean, when you have that, for '87, I mean, that's still a brutal album. There's no let up, there's no intro, it's 18 songs and about 28 minutes or so. The solos are like 5 seconds long. Blast beats, raw production. I love it. Some people don't because they like everything pristine and clear. Um, and those demos really, in my opinion, were the birth of more death grind. And as far as punk grind, of course, one could trace it back to Napalm Death. Napalm Death started life as a anarcho punk band influenced heavily by Crass. Uh, I've heard some of the early Napalm Death recording. Okay, one, because Punk is Rotting Corpse is not actually a Napalm Death demo. Um, it's some weird compilation that someone just decided to scam it as Napalm Death. And if you don't believe me, Nick Bullen says so. So, of course, they got faster and faster. The original influences were Celtic Frost and Siege, so they wanted to combine the fast. If you don't know who Siege is, in Deep Wound, look them up. And if you seriously, if you don't know who they are, get off this just leave. Um, Combining the speed with Siege and the metal of Celtic Frost on the breakdowns. Um, and that was kind of the birth of grindcore. Grindcore has, is always a little bit metallic, but my favorite grindcore is the more punky grind, like Napalm Death, or I guess my favorite grindcore band ever would be Fear of God. Although he doesn't like Eric Keller doesn't like to be labeled as grindcore. I think he prefers hardcore punk. Um, but it came around to the whole grindcore movement. So I guess you have to kind of call it what it is. Oh, that 21 song 7-inch just does good things to me. Just it is just so noisy, but it's not improv. It's not noisecore. It's not like Anal Cunt. It's not. It's it's written down, but it's just so noisy. The vocals are awesome. Uh, Other famous hardcore pseudo grind slash grindcore bands would be Protest Bank, featuring Pat O'Thornell of Filthy Christians, one of the best grindcore bands, in my opinion. Um, Protest Bank were more hardcore. They were two members of Mob 47 and two members of Filthy Christians. Um, you had, I mean, like I said, Discharge and Anti-Cimex and those bands were really an influence to hardcore punk. Raw Power too. Um, other bands are SOB, Sabotage, Organized Barbarians out of Japan. Of course, the great Leave Me Alone EP and Don't Be Swindle LP, which is an amazing um, record. Of course, you have Carcass, who before pushing out as a melodic death metal band or wanking as a tech death band, were really cool. They, one of the probably the first or second kind of death grind quote unquote band. Um, their their demo Flesh Ripping Sonic Torment and their album Reek of Putrefaction are two of my favorite more metal grind, as I call it. Taking a drink. Hmm. Professional metal grind, death metal grind recordings. NYC Mayhem, which in 1 year, 1985, transformed from a really cool death metal band to a really cool hardcore punk band. Um, then you get into stuff like you have more of the crust grind bands like Extreme Noise Terror, who never really went grindcore but had some grind in them, but was always more of like a crust hardcore punk band. Later on, of course, they went death metal, but then they returned home. Yeah, Mick Harris is played in that band. He also played Napalm Death and Unseen Terror, one of another really good grind band. And he, in my opinion, is the greatest grind drummer of past or present. Um, you've also, in the 90s, you've got Brutal Truth fronted by Danny Lilker, who I still have a hard time believing, considering he formed Anthrax. And, usually, people who like form like speed metal bands, they don't generally play, grindcore. Um, Usually they just kind of stay where they are. They started out as death grind, but they went kind of more experimental. They're one of the few, I don't want to call them jazz grind bands, but one of the few more tech grind bands that I actually really like. You've got bands like Disrupt, who are like a crust grind band. You've got, and all these bands that, they were grindcore, but they were different types of grind. You got Asuk, who came around. They were, I always thought of them as like death metal with really short songs. I felt there was very little punk in them. Um, could be mistaken. And Rob Proctor's a really good drummer. You've got Anal Cunt, of course, who started out as a noise band and transformed into a really cool grind band with really offensive lyrics. Kevin Sharp, you're gay. Um, fuck. Professional. Of course, grindcore existed alongside power violence, the obnoxiously named genre, which is basically really speeded up hardcore punk with slow parts. Pretty much what it is. And of course, bands overlap. Nowadays, there's more death grind, which is now really quickly. You'll notice I did say Terrorizer in this. I've always viewed Terrorizer as death metal, not grindcore, but so many people view Terrorizer as grindcore, and I disagree. Songs are too long, and it just sounds like really good pure death metal to me, with some punk riffs. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're grindcore, but Terrorizer released some really good demos and one so-so album before breaking up. Yes, I pissed on World Downfall. Sue me. Nowadays, you have Death Grind, which is, like I said, Terrorizer, I guess, of grindcore. Napalm Death, who went much more death metal, but I've always viewed Napalm Death as more of a punk band than a metal band anyway. I always viewed them as, you have standard grindcore like My Mind's Mine, one of the greatest, and Blood I Bleed, two of the greatest. I'm just gonna say one of the greatest because they feature three of the same members. Um, uh, Nasm, which kind of straddles the death grind thing. I think they're more metal than anything else. You have bands such as, um, those bands. You have Wormrot and Insect Warfare. Insect Warfare defunct. Wormrot still around, maybe. I think they just got back together. Hopefully, some new music. But they sold out to Scion. You've got bands who play more jazz grind like Discord and Zaxxus. I guess started the whole thing. Grid Link, um, fucking yeah, those bands. I don't like them. I mean, Naked City was fun, but yeah, I don't like them. Noisier is the only one of those bands that I really enjoyed because they kind of blend the new school and the old school. I called it wank grind or false grind, so don't really enjoy those bands. I prefer punk to um but Noisier is really cool. Check out Noisier. The guitarist also played in Excruciating Terror, one of a really good band from the '90s from LA. Yay! um, then you've got carcass worship bands like Exhumed and the County Medical Examiners, who basically ape the carcass um, sound, which is whatever. If you like Symphonies of Sickness, so check them out. I guess if you like Carcass, whatever. You've got prog grind like cattle decapitation. Fuck cattle decapitation. I hate Travis Ryan too. Vegan. He's a vegan. Vegans suck. We hate vegans. Oi. Oh fuck me. That hurt. Yeah, we hate vegans. Travis Ryan's a vegan, so we have to hate him. Sorry, Travis. Um, yeah, Cattle Decapitation never did anything for me, and they're considered one of the best extreme metal bands in the world. So go figure. um, we have Gore Grind, which is like I said, Carcass, and Gore Grind, of course, is grind with gory lyrics, like I said, Carcass and Exhumed and some others, and um, it's okay, I guess. Um, whatever. Pig Destroyer is something. Pig Destroyer is okay, I guess. So is Agoraphobic Nosebleed. Although, like I said, it's a little too much in the artsy grind for my taste. You know, I like evil noise grind. I don't want artsy fartsy grind. Then you have my phase. Then you have porno grind. I don't like bands like Anal Blast or Porno Grind because they don't have any punk in them. They just sound like brutal death metal. Yeah, they just sound like brutal death metal to me. They just not even really good brutal death metal. And of course, the nadir of Porno Grind and the nadir of cybergrind is Sperm Swamp. Oh my god. I listened to Artery Eruption and Amputated. I love those bands. And people don't like them. I would rather listen to them than Sperm Swamp. Sperm Swamp is an awful band. Oh my god. Yeah. The vocals isn't even trying. He's not even trying. Drum machine. I mean, I hate cybergrind. Cybergrind and electro grind. Electro grind be like the Locust, kind of hipster grind, along with Grid Link, jazz grind and hipster grind. Electro grind. I call hipster grind because you see the hipsters liking it. Uh, and John Chang thinks he knows everything about grindcore. Electro grind is like the Locust, which is like grindcore but with weird industrial elements, which is cool if you like industrial elements in your grindcore. I don't. If you want to do harsh noise, keep it out of my grind. If you want to do grind, keep it out of harsh noise. Cyber grind, of course, is electronic, so everything's electronic. The drums, the guitars a lot of times are played electronically or plugged into the computer, and yeah, it's awful. Pitch shifted vocals, and yeah, no talent. I mean, literally no talent is needed. So, if you want to read a book about grindcore, you can do "Choosing Death: The Improbable History of Grindcore Death Metal." Of course, the book spends too much time on death metal, not enough time on grindcore, because it was written by the guy from Decibel Magazine. Um, I mean, they overlap, but yeah, I like punk, so yeah, that's basically what you need to know about grindcore. I probably left out some bands, and you're probably gonna cry that I left out one of your favorite bands. Um, I mean, I left out Mortician and Dying Fetus and Misery Index. Sorry, it's not a complete history. It's just an overview. And if you want to know more about grindcore, like the short songs and how what it sounds like, well, you should know what it sounds like. Come on. It's 2015. If you want to know what grindcore sounds like, just go download Napalm Death Scum or Fear of God's self-titled EP. Um, Shorts, and if you want to know about, the Micro song or whatever, go to Wikipedia. I will say this about that, though. Sore Throat made 101 songs. The only kind of electro thing I really like is the band Sore Throat, who released a 101 song LP called "Disgrace to the Corpse of Sid." That had a lot of, at least the A side had a lot of effects and stuff, and they actually did them well. Um, Whereas most people can't. Sore Throat's other stuff was more crusty or grindy, or whatever. Um, I guess I'll leave you with a top 10 list of grind albums and bands to check out. Fear of God, 21 songs, self-titled EP. Sore Throat, 42 song, Death to Capitalist Hardcore. Anal Cunts, the Old Testament, which is all their noise. Anal Cunts, it just gets worse. In fact, anything they did, and anything Sore Throat did, anything Fear of God did. Napalm Death, Scum, or any album, but Scum is my favorite. A side was recorded in '86, B side in '87. You can kind of hear how things evolved. Repulsion's Horrified, Carcass's Recomputerefaction, My Mind's Mind's 48 Reasons to Leave This Planet, and their two albums. Um, fucking, Filthy Christians, Mean, featuring Pat O'Donnell, one of my favorite vocalists. And, well, sorry, I lost my fucking place. Well, what else? What is the 10th one we can have you use? What's the 10th one? Asuk's Misery Index? That's always fun. So, get those. I'm sorry this video wasn't very good. I try. Sue me. No, don't sue me. I can't pay for it. So, I've been Elliott Lindman. That's been Grindcore. You son of a